many times that Superman and Batman are pitted against each other. It's always a fun story and it's always a big seller. And for some reason, we tend to see Batman with the edge, but not always. In Lex Luthor, Man of Steel, Lex Luthor gives Bruce Wayne a shard of green kryptonite to use in a fight against Superman. Historically, this has always been an issue for Superman, but in this story, he shows just how easily he can wipe the floor with Batman when he just uses his super breath to blow the kryptonite out of his hands. That's all he had to do. After it falls to the ground, Superman drags Batman through the air and drops him. Superman throws a punch at Batman, but just as he's about to turn Batman into a crushed tomato, he stops just to prove a point. Superman can easily destroy Batman if he wants to. Yes, Bruce can win and has multiple times, but with so much more effort than Superman would ever need, and this proves it. Superman has also had several clashes with other members of the Trinity, Wonder Woman. A lot of these clashes are actually pretty interesting. Superman is Superman. He's fast, he's strong, he has a lot of other various powers, but Wonder Woman is no pushover. There have been many encounters where she has absolutely destroyed the Man of Steel. She knocked him out in one kick, snapped his arm like a twig, and in one story she even completely ended his life when she used some kryptonite as sharp brass knuckles. However, in Superman, the Man of Tomorrow number 13, titled Madness, having had it up to here with humanity and their shenanigans, Superman throws all the world's nuclear weapons into the sun, distracting the JLA with an army of Superman robots. Wonder Woman and friends recruit the new god Orion and even Green Lantern to create kryptonite, but despite everyone's combined might, Superman still takes the day. Sometimes we just love to see our DC heroes take on our Marvel heroes. One of several intercompany crossovers between Marvel and DC, JLA/Avengers, pitted the company's greatest heroes against each other. This was awesome. It created some of the most iconic fight scenes in superhero comic books, with classic heroes battling it out in feuds formerly confined to fans' imaginations and late-night backyard table debates. One of the most interesting fights happened when the Asgardian Thor attacked Superman. Now, I would love to see someone do all the research and decide who would realistically win this conflict, but in the comic, Thor at first seemingly overpowers Superman using his magical hammer, and that is fair. What may not surprise many, however, is that Superman is actually quite the worthy fellow. He catches the mallet before sending Thor flying, using his own hammer back on him. Of course, Superman can lift it. His fight with Thor ends with Superman saying Thor might have been his toughest opponent yet. This one isn't really so much a humbling as it is a complete and brutal slaying of a fan-loved character. Needless to say, things get kind of taken to another level in the comic Superman Batman issue 14 from 2005, titled Pretenders to the Throne. In this story, Batman and Superman have become villains and rule over the entire USA. In one of the comic's more awful scenes, Batman brings Superman to their fellow Justice Leaguer Green Arrow as some kind of sick, twisted birthday present. Also, they can pummel him together. In a bit of a shock move, Green Arrow actually gets Supes with a kryptonite arrow. Unfortunately, that arrow seems to only make Batman more angry, and after taking his body and hitting him with it, Batman completely lays into Green Arrow. That is until Superman pops back up and completely disintegrates Arrow with his heat vision. Yikes. Next up is another Marvel and DC fight. However, in this big encounter, instead of an Asgardian god, we get to see DC's most famous superhero taking on the poster boy of Marvel, Spider-Man. In terms of star power, it sounds like a great face-off. The problem is, in terms of raw power, Spidey's odds of winning this encounter were never good. It took a little help from Lex Luthor to give Peter a fighting chance. Lois Lane and Mary Jane had both been kidnapped, and both heroes were blaming the other. They squared off, but not before Luthor irradiated Spider-Man with energy mimicking a red sun, leaving the Kryptonian vulnerable. Spider-Man was actually holding his own for a while, but then the radiation wore off and he was left with just his normal strength. Just punching Superman broke Spider-Man's hand, and Clark held back from fighting anymore because he knew he could kill Peter with one punch. Yes, I am back again with another Marvel hero. No Asgardian though, no Spider-Boy. This time, the Hulk is definitely a bit more of a challenge. So Banner and Superman have actually fought each other a few different times. They've traded some wins, so you can't say that one is definitely stronger than the other, but it's nonetheless impressive that Superman has been able to take out someone as strong as the Hulk. Maybe what gave Clark the edge on the occasion I'm talking about today was that innocent people were in danger. Thanks to some meddling from Lex Luthor, Bruce Banner lost control of himself and went on a rampage as the Hulk in Metropolis. Superman tried to fight him there, but civilians were getting caught up in the battle. To keep anyone else from getting hurt, Clark fought the Hulk all the way to the Fortress of Solitude, but even then, Banner wasn't showing any signs of calming down. Left with little choice, Superman ended the fight by knocking the Hulk out of this world, literally. Clark punched the Hulk into the Phantom Zone, bringing the fight to a close. There are few in the DC Comics that can actually stand up to the Man of Steel. Shazam may be one of them. There's also Orion, and there is also the hero known as Captain Atom. In the Justice League Unlimited cartoon, we saw a fight between these two during the Flashpoint episode. While Superman and Huntress are after the hero The Question, the one standing in their way was Captain Atom. This led to Superman coming to the Question's defense. With super strength and the power to control radiation, Captain Atom has always put up a good fight against the Man of Steel, especially in the Injustice comics. Even here in the cartoon form, Captain Atom is actually putting up a good fight against the Man of Steel, with each hero trading super-powered blows that send each other crashing through walls. At the end of the day, it was Captain Atom who started to tire first, and Clark began dodging his strikes, sending Atom face first into a concrete wall. With one final uppercut, Superman KO'd the irritated hero and brought the conflict to an end. There are many powerful items in the DC universe. Arguably the most powerful among them is the ring of a Green Lantern. Sure, there are items that definitely seem more powerful, the helmet of Naboo and the mother boxes for example, but the Green Lantern ring is limited only by the user's imagination. This limitless potential puts the power of a Green Lantern in a league of their own. Superman has come to blows with the Green Lanterns on previous occasions and has been held back and down a few times, but more recently was the confrontation between the character and Hal Jordan, which came during 2011's Justice League comic. In the New 52, during a misunderstanding, Superman holds Batman in his iron grip, and in an attempt to restrain Superman, Hal uses his ring to create chains to hold the Kryptonian down. However, Superman simply smirks and exclaims, "Chains? Really?" and he just shatters them like glass by flexing. Hal panics and uses his ring to create a bubble to escape with Batman in, and it's kind of hilarious. When the topic of how one would go about defeating Superman comes up, kryptonite is the one solution that even non-comic book fans are aware of. However, unbeknownst to some, there are other forces in the DC universe that can subdue and even incapacitate the Man of Steel. One of those forces is magic. In the DC universe, the potential power of magic and those who can harness it are limitless. One powerful magic user who is often put up against Superman by fans is Shazam. The mightiest mortal found himself on Superman's bad side in the New 52. As Shazam is about to spread the ashes of a loved one, he is attacked by soldiers. Confused and angry, Shazam charges at the soldiers, but is stopped by Superman. Due to his magical abilities, Shazam is able to inflict damage on Superman. However, Kal-El is still able to stop the guy in his tracks. Trying to find instances where the Man of Steel fights his fellow heroes is actually harder than you think, especially if we are trying to show him humbling said heroes. If we switch to the world of DC's Injustice Gods Among Us, then that really doesn't stand true anymore. Superman fights many heroes. He also completely eradicates a few. Some of these are incredibly brutal, with a big shout out to the fight against Shazam as being incredibly harrowing, but it's the fight against Hawkman I want to talk about here. In the Injustice Gods Among Us story, Hawkman engages Superman in combat trying to subdue this out-of-control Superman. After he is abandoned by his wife, Hawkwoman, the Thanagarian hero puts up a commendable effort, striking the Man of Steel several times with a kryptonite-laced mace. Despite this impressive display of heroics, Hawkman is defeated as he is burned to cinders by Superman's heat vision. Hawkman looks utterly humiliated and heartbroken. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and make your mark on the comment section down below. See you later. Bye!